This is Daddy. We tendency to keep our families around. If we want them back, we just kind of dig them up and hang them. And here's his piano. It is a Nickelodeon. It's got some drums in it. And here, a friend of mine put me in the bathtub playing with my rubber ducky. We normally keep that covered. And whenever anybody's around, of course, it becomes Hillbilly Rick's Casino. And then we got punt and return. It's like a booze game. If you get off, it makes noise. We got some pictures we've taken on the wall. There's Jane Mansfield that's in a water bottle. Then we walk around, you can see we do have a few computers, maybe too many, and we have a really good time. Here's some of the pictures on the wall of my kids. Not sure who that guy is. Maybe I will recognize him one of these days. This was a Laughing Larry game done by Milton Bradley. They don't even know they made it. It's just a demo that was made years ago. And here I got to meet some of the guys out at Rick's Restoration. So, are you ready? Yeehaw, Hillbilly Rick guys. I'm going to tell you a story about the Hatfield and the McCoys. Before I get settled in here, I want to introduce you to my favorite dog. His name is Poop. My granddaughter just loves him, don't you, Poop? Yes, sir. Oh, and we got, you know what? We got Little Poop here. We got Little Poop. Hi, say hi to everybody, Little Poop. Hi, everybody. Oh, Little Poop and Big Poop. I'm going to tell you a story about the Hatfields and the McCoys that many of you may have forgotten. It goes back many, many, many years ago. Yeah, it was Christmas Eve in Hillbilly Land. Grandma was in the kitchen. She's preparing possum, grits, and some great roadkill that the mailman left. The moon was shining brightly, so Grandpa went down to the moonshine still. He was checking his corn mash. He checked it once. It tasted so good, he thought, I think I'll taste it twice. Mom and Dad were in the parlor trying to figure out how to get the kids to go to bed. About that time, Grandpa came stumbling in, all full of holiday cheer. Yee-haw! So you young'uns still up, he said. Yet Ma and I can't get them to go to bed, they said. They're so excited. They're waiting for Santa Claus to come right on down the fireplace. How about you tell them a story, Grandpa? So I nodded my head, and I squinted my eyes, and I said, I get my pipe down, and I knock it on the pan, and I said, I think I'll tell you the story about the Hatfields and the McCoys. Well, so he grabs his book. He says, come here, old dog, Poop. Woof, woof. The dog barks as he jumps on by Grandpa's lap. Come on up here, Poop, for a minute. There you go. He jumped on my lap. There you go, Poop. You be a good doggy. All right. Well, a long time ago, there were two hillbilly clans, the Hatfields and the McCoys. The Hatfields were from Hobstadt, and the McCoys were from Princeton, of all places. For years, they'd been a feudin'. They set up roadblocks on Highway 41, and they wouldn't let anyone through. They hid behind big beer trucks down at the truck stop, morning, noon, and night, and would change guards so nobody could get through. Well, now this year was very unhospitable. Every now and then they'd take a shot. Bang, bang, bang! And people would run and hide. But you know what? Nobody ever got hurt. Now, the mailman, Gary, would take mail to each of the clans. He worked under a Scrooge by the name of Greg, who made him work very, very hard. Well, the roadblocks messed up the mail too, and made it hard for all the clans to file their income tax returns. Well, while this was going on, a little hillbilly boy named Ben Hatfield, he fell in love with a little hillbilly girl named Olivia McCoy. Well, they'd go to school early each day so they could see each other. They'd meet at lunchtime. They would sneak out behind the old oak tree and spoon. You don't know what spooning means? That means they just kind of cuddle and hug each other. Well, recess, they loved to skip and play, and as their love grew, they would hate to go home, knowing they could not see each other, that their families were in a feud. Well, Ben and Olivia kept asking, "What's this feud about?" Well, nobody knew. Nobody could tell them. They'd ask and ask and ask. Well, one night before Christmas Eve, Ben and Olivia were walking through the woods when they heard the darndest commotion coming from the woods. There was a red sleigh with 8 tiny reindeers pulling a big jolly man through the sky with a big red sleigh, but they got hit by a wind shear, and the sleigh came tumbling down through the trees into the middle. Right into the middle of Grandpa Hatfield's still, of all places. Olivia and Ben ran up, and they said, "Can we help? Help!" And they found the old jolly old man in a red suit with his 8 tiny reindeer. He's all jumbled up. He said, "Santa's my name, and I've lost my red hat. I can't go on without it. Oh my gosh, what will I do? I don't have my red hat." Well, Ben and Olivia looked at each other and said, "We'll help." Well, then this red-nosed reindeer come up and said, "My name's Rudolph. I have lost one of my magical shoes on my right front hoof. I won't be able to fly and lead the road gang out of here and to help Santa. So I don't know what I'm going to do." Well, now Ben and Olivia, they looked at each other and said that this was a real Santa. And if they didn't do something to help, the good old boys in the world wouldn't get any toys tomorrow night. Well, Ben's family was pretty good at planting and searching for rabbits. So he said, "I'll go get my clansmen, the Hatfields, and we'll go search the field for the red hat." Well, Olivia's clan were cobblers and blacksmiths. Yeah. So she said she would take Rudolph to her place and get him a new shoe and maybe even just shine his nose a bit. That's what she said she'd do. Well, off they went. Now old St. Nick sat there in his sleigh, and being kind of thirsty, he proceeded to try some of Grandpa's moonshine. Ha! Well, it wasn't long, and his nose was red. Heck, he thought, I might not need Rudolph tomorrow night. Well, the Hatfields, led by young and handsome Ben Hatfield, were out in the field. They were searching for the long red hat with a white ball on the end of it. They all carried lanterns and candles, and it was so dark that they went and got this old searchlight used in World War II and I, and they lit it up. Soon all the Hatfields were out there searching in their sunglasses for the hat. Well, the kids started crying, and even the codgers had tears in their eyes. Well, Grandma McCoy said, "We can't have that. Well, come over here, Rudolph." And she said, "Get here in this lazy boy recliner. Paul, you get your tools. Jack, you get that fire fired up a bit," she said. "Son, get the shoes out, and we'll see which one fits Rudolph. Well, Olivia, you get the brass sew out and go to work on shining his nose." Well, old Rudolph, he laid back in that recliner, surrounded by the McCoys, and soon they found a shoe that would fit. And Jack heated it up in the fire. Grandpa took it and started hammering on it. Soon he was shaping it out with a 7,200 RPM grinder. Olivia was just a buffing with brass sew on Rudolph's nose. Oh my gosh. Soon Grandpa said, "Stand up, Rudolph. Let's see how that shoe fits." Well, Rudolph stood up with his nose so bright, and the shoe felt better than anything he'd ever had on before. Well, them's Nike Jordan Airs, Grandpa said. Wow, they really look good. So Olivia and McCoy and the rest of McCoys and Rudolph headed back to the woods to meet up with Santa Claus. About that time, the Hatfields found a bright red hat with a white ball on it in the woods. Sure did. So they all headed to the woods. Well, as both clans approached the clearing in the woods from different directions, the Hatfields were coming from the south-southwest, and the McCoys were coming from the north-northeast. Well, as Ben and Olivia's eyes met, they could see both of the clans coming together, and they were, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Well, Santa Claus, he was no fool, and he could see Rudolph was prancing like never before in his Jordan Airs, and telling Donner and Blitzen and the rest of the road gang all about how great he had been treated by the McCoys. Well, Santa was being handed his bright red hat by the Hatfields. With a gleam in his eyes as he put it on his head, thank you all, Santa said. Now he didn't have much time, so he jumped into the sled. He said, Rudolph, it's up to you. If there's to be a Christmas this year, we need to go. Fly like the wind, he said. And he looked down at the young Ben and Olivia, and he said he could see the love in their hearts. And it was so strong that the clans forgot about their feud. And Santa Claus and his 8 tiny reindeer flew out of sight. You could hear him say as he grabbed his hat, he said, now that's true love. It's a real McCoy. By the time they were over, this time the story was over, Grandpa could see the young'uns were fast asleep. There by the fire was warm and the birds and everybody were there. And then he turned and he noticed that also his son and daughter-in-law were nestled in each other's arms by the sofa by the fire. Grandma came over to Grandpa and said, with a gleam in her eye, she looked at them and said, Grandpa, Ben, and yes, Olivia, there will be a Christmas tonight. And the true love of the Hatfields and McCoys will live on forever. That's the real McCoy. Now, what do you think about that, Poop? Huh? You think you like that? Huh? Well, say bye to everybody. Bye. See y'all later. Yeehaw.